The morning sky over Earth changed forever when the alien ships appeared. Jake Morrison sat in his chair deep underground in the military bunker and watched the screens that showed giant metal ships floating in space above the planet. The ships were bigger than cities, and there were hundreds of them. Jake did not look scared like the other people around him who were running and shouting into phones and radios. Commander Zekthara stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked down at the blue planet below. His forearms moved across the control panels as he checked the reports from his scouts. The humans had simple weapons and divided governments just like the intelligence said. This would be another easy conquest for the Hegemony Coalition. They had taken 47 worlds using the same plan on Earth. Would be number 48. The alien commander's skin was dark purple and his eyes were black like space. He had conquered worlds for over 200 years and never lost a battle. Humans looked weak from the reports. They fought each other instead of working together. Their technology was primitive compared to coalition weapons. This invasion would take maybe 1 month. Jake pressed a button on his console that opened a secret communication channel. The channel connected to hidden receivers all over the world that most people did not know existed. He spoke into his microphone with a calm voice that did not shake even though alien warships filled the sky above them. Operation Shepherd is now active, Jake said into the microphone. 3,000 miles away in Ohio, Margaret Bell heard those words through a small device in her ear. She was teaching her third-grade class about math when the message came. Margaret looked at her students who were working on addition problems and did not know that alien ships were in the sky. She told them to keep working and walked to the back of the classroom. Margaret opened a door that led to a supply closet, but she did not stop there. She moved boxes aside and pressed her hand against what looked like a blank wall. The wall opened and showed stairs going down into darkness. Margaret had been waiting for this day for 15 years. In Tokyo, Bobby Kim was fixing concrete on a building when he heard the same message. Other workers around him kept working because they could not hear what Bobby heard. Bobby put down his tools and told his boss he felt sick and needed to go home. He walked to his small apartment and went to his bedroom. Bobby moved his bed aside and opened a hidden door in the floor. Susan Clark was putting books back on shelves in the London library where she worked when the message reached her. She had been a librarian for 20 years, but that was not her real job. Susan walked to the back room of the library and moved an old filing cabinet. Behind it was another hidden panel that opened when she touched it. All around the world, people who looked like normal humans heard Jake's message and went to secret places. They were teachers and workers and shop owners and nurses. Nobody would think they were special if they saw them on the street, but they were not normal humans. They had been waiting and preparing for this day their whole lives. The alien ships began broadcasting messages to Earth in all human languages. The messages said the same thing: surrender now or be destroyed. The aliens showed their power by firing energy beams at military bases in different countries. The bases exploded in bright flashes that could be seen from space. World leaders watched their armies get destroyed in seconds and knew they had no choice but to give up. But Jake Morrison did not look worried as he watched the alien demonstration. He knew something the aliens did not know. He knew something that even most humans did not know. Earth had been preparing for this invasion for almost 70 years. Margaret reached the bottom of the stairs under her school and found a room full of equipment that looked like it came from science fiction movies. Computers with strange designs covered the walls. Weapons that glowed with blue light sat on tables. A suit of armor that seemed to be made of liquid metal hung on a stand waiting for her. Bobby descended into a similar room under his apartment building. The technology looked the same as what Margaret found, but Bobby's room had different weapons and different computers. Everything was designed for his specific genetic pattern and neural structure. Susan found her own room under the library with her own equipment. Thousands of people around the world found their own hidden rooms with their own advanced technology. They had all been chosen for the same reason, but none of them knew about the others. Until now, the alien commander received reports that the major world governments were preparing to surrender. This was going exactly as planned. Humans always gave up quickly when they saw coalition firepower. In a few days, Earth would be another conquered world and its people would serve the hegemony. Zekthara did not know that his victory was about to become his greatest defeat. He did not know that humanity had a secret that would change everything. The secret army that no one saw coming was about to reveal itself. 3 days after the alien ships arrived, strange things began to happen. The aliens sent out small flying machines to watch human cities and military bases. These spy drones had the best technology the Coalition could build. They could see through walls and detect any type of weapon or computer. But in some places, the drones stopped working for no reason that the aliens could understand. Commander Zekthara stood in his command center and looked at reports from his officers. The reports said that human governments were ready to surrender, just like always happened, but other reports worried him. Scout teams on the ground could not explain why their equipment failed in certain areas. Communication systems that should work perfectly were getting interference from unknown sources. Tony Rodriguez moved through the forests of Montana with 12 other people who looked like ordinary humans. They wore clothes that seemed to bend. Light around them, making them almost invisible. Their weapons looked like rifles but fired beams of energy that could cut through metal. Tony had been a car mechanic before Operation Shepherd activated. Now he led a team with technology that the aliens would not believe if they saw it. The group stopped at the edge of a clearing where an alien outpost had been built. The outpost had energy shields and guard towers with powerful weapons. 50 alien soldiers patrolled the area with scanners that could detect human heat signatures from miles away. But the scanners could not see Tony and his team. Tony pressed a button on a device attached to his wrist. The device looked like a simple watch, but it connected his mind directly to a computer system that was more advanced than anything humans were supposed to have. Information flowed into his brain about enemy positions, weapon ranges, and tactical options. The computer was not built by humans, but by a race that had fought the aliens before. In a laboratory hidden beneath a mountain in Colorado. Dr. Helen Price worked with equipment that most human scientists would not understand for another 100 years. She was studying genetic samples from the people who had been activated for Operation Shepherd. Helen had discovered something amazing about these people that even they did not know about themselves. The people chosen for the secret army were not normal humans. They were descendants of an ancient human bloodline that had genetic markers dating back thousands of years. These markers allowed them to connect mentally with technology that was designed by an alien race called the Guardians. Only one person in every 100 humans had these special genes. Helen looked at brain scans on her computers and saw the neural patterns that made the connection possible. When someone with the right genetics touched Guardian technology, their brain formed new pathways that let them control machines with their thoughts. The process was automatic and happened within seconds of first contact. 68 years ago, an alien had crashed on Earth in the desert of New Mexico. The alien was dying, but before it died, it gave human scientists technology blueprints and a warning. The alien said its people had been attacked by the Hegemony Coalition and defeated, but their technology could be used by humans if the right people could be found and trained. The dying alien told the scientists that the Coalition would come to Earth eventually. They always came. They conquered worlds by using fear and superior technology. But the Guardian technology was specifically designed to fight Coalition weapons and tactics. The alien gave humanity the tools to defend itself, but said it would take many years to prepare. Margaret Bell stood in her hidden room and put on the liquid metal armor that had been waiting for her. The armor flowed over her body like water, and then hardened into a protective shell that was stronger than tank metal. When the armor completed its connection to Margaret's nervous system, she felt her mind expand. She could see electromagnetic fields and hear radio signals. Her strength increased to 10 times normal human levels. The armor had an artificial intelligence that spoke to Margaret through direct neural link. The AI had been programmed by Guardians and contained thousands of years of military knowledge. It could analyze any combat situation and suggest the best tactics. But the AI never controlled Margaret's actions. It only advised her and let her make all decisions. Bobby. Kim found similar armor in his hidden room along with weapons that could fire controlled gravity waves. The weapons could make objects weightless or increase their weight by thousands of times. Bobby had trained with simulated versions of these weapons for 5 years, but this was the first time he touched the real Guardian technology. Susan Clark discovered that her room contained communication equipment that could send messages instantly across any distance. The messages traveled through folded space and could not be detected or blocked by any known technology. Susan began coordinating with other activated humans around the world and realized for the first time how many of them there really were. All over Earth, people who had lived normal lives as teachers and mechanics and store clerks were putting on Guardian armor and learning to use weapons that seemed like magic, but they were not random people. Each one had been carefully selected after years of genetic testing disguised as routine medical checkups. Each one had been watched and evaluated without knowing it. Tony's team attacked the alien outpost using tactics that the Coalition had never seen before. Their weapons fired through solid matter and their armor made them immune to energy blasts. The aliens fought back with everything they had, but their weapons could not hurt attackers. They could not see or detect. The battle lasted only 10 minutes. When it was over, the alien outpost was completely destroyed and all 50 enemy soldiers were dead. Tony's team had no injuries because the Guardian armor protected them from all Coalition weapons. The team moved away from the destroyed outpost like ghosts and disappeared back into the forest. Commander Zekthara received reports about the attack and could not believe what his officers told him. Humans with invisible armor and impossible weapons had destroyed a heavily defended position without taking any losses. The descriptions sounded like fantasy stories, but the outpost was definitely gone and all his soldiers were dead. The aliens increased their security and sent more scout drones to find these mysterious human soldiers. But the Guardian technology made the secret army almost impossible to detect. The real war was just beginning, and the aliens were starting to realize that Earth would not be an easy conquest after all. The war that most humans did not know was happening grew bigger every day. Lisa Harper looked like the mayor of a small town in Kansas, but she was really coordinating supply operations for the secret army across the entire middle part of America. Her town hall building had hidden elevators that went down to underground facilities where Guardian technology was manufactured and stored. Lisa stood in a control room, 50 feet below the surface, and watched holographic displays showing aircraft that normal radar could not detect. These ships used Guardian stealth technology that bent space around them to become invisible. The ships carried weapons, armor, and equipment to secret army teams all over the continent. One of the invisible aircraft landed in a field outside Lisa's town and opened cargo doors that revealed supplies for 100 soldiers. The pilot was a farmer named Carl Brown, who had been flying these missions for 2 weeks since Operation Shepherd activated. Carl could control the ship with his thoughts, through neural interfaces that connected his brain to the Guardian flight systems. Meanwhile, alien forces were becoming frustrated as their occupation of Earth faced resistance they could not understand. Supply convoys disappeared without leaving any trace of what happened to them. Forward bases lost contact with command centers for no apparent reason. Human collaborators who helped the aliens were found dead with no visible wounds or signs of violence. Commander Zekthara walked through the wreckage of another destroyed outpost and tried to make sense of what his engineers were telling him. The metal walls had been cut with precision that suggested advanced plasma weapons, but scans showed no plasma residue. Security cameras had recorded nothing because they stopped working moments before the attack. Even the backup power systems had failed simultaneously. The alien commander ordered his technical staff to analyze the attack patterns and find a way to defend against these mysterious human weapons. But every analysis came back with impossible results. The weapons seemed to violate basic laws of physics. Energy beams that passed through solid matter without affecting it. Explosions that destroyed targets from the inside without external damage. Stealth systems that made attackers completely invisible to all Coalition sensors. Nathan Cross had been an insurance investigator before the activation and was very good at solving puzzles. Now he wore Guardian armor that enhanced his analytical abilities to superhuman levels. The armor's artificial intelligence worked with Nathan's natural detective skills to plan operations that seemed like magic to the aliens who tried to stop them. Nathan led a team that specialized in infiltrating alien facilities and sabotaging them from within. The Guardian armor could phase partially out of normal space, allowing Nathan to walk through walls like a ghost. Once inside an enemy base, he could plant devices that would corrupt alien computer systems and cause all their equipment to malfunction. The devices Nathan used were quantum viruses created by Guardian technology. The viruses learned how alien computers worked and then spread through connected networks like a digital plague. They could make weapons misfire, cause life support systems to fail, and erase navigation data from spacecraft. The viruses were almost impossible to detect until they had already infected everything. Dr. Helen Price worked in her hidden laboratory and studied reports from field operations around the world. She was amazed by how quickly the activated humans were adapting to Guardian technology. People who had never seen advanced weapons before were becoming expert fighters. Within days of putting on the armor, Helen realized that the genetic markers were more important than anyone had originally understood. The special genes did not just allow humans to control Guardian technology. They also enhanced learning speed, tactical awareness, and physical coordination when connected to the armor systems. People with the markers became perfect soldiers. Almost instantly, the secret army had been hiding in plain sight for decades. Teachers like Margaret Bell had been selected not just for their genetics, but also for their ability to organize and lead others. Mechanics like Bobby Kim had technical skills that translated perfectly to maintaining Guardian equipment. Librarians like Susan Clark could process information quickly and coordinate complex operations. Betty Adams ran a small bookstore in Vermont, but her real job was leading strike teams that infiltrated alien command posts. Betty was 70 years old, but the Guardian armor made her as strong and fast as someone 50 years younger. Her team had successfully planted quantum viruses in 12 alien facilities and caused massive system failures throughout the invasion. Fleet. The aliens tried to capture members of the secret army to learn how their technology worked, but every attempt failed. Guardian armor had self-destruct systems that activated if the wearer was seriously injured or captured. The armor would completely disintegrate along with all the advanced technology, leaving no evidence for the aliens to study. Amy Chun had been a commercial pilot before activation and now flew Guardian spacecraft that were more advanced than anything the Coalition had ever seen. Her ship could travel faster than light for short distances and had weapons that fired concentrated gravity waves. Amy had destroyed 3 alien cruisers in the past, weak using tactics that the enemy could not counter. The Guardian ships used technology that folded space around them to achieve impossible speeds and maneuvers. They could appear next to an alien vessel, fire their weapons, and disappear before the enemy could respond. Coalition pilots reported fighting ghost ships that seemed to exist in multiple places at the same time. Commander Zekthara called an emergency meeting with his senior officers and demanded explanations for the continuing losses. His ground forces were being defeated by enemies they could not see. His spacecraft were being destroyed by weapons they could not detect. Human resistance was supposed to collapse within days, but instead it was growing stronger. The reports from his intelligence officers made no sense. They claimed that human technology was more advanced than Coalition science, but that was impossible. Humans had just discovered faster than light travel. They used primitive nuclear weapons and chemical rockets. How could they have invisible armor and gravity weapons? But the evidence was undeniable. Every day brought new reports of destroyed bases and missing patrols. The humans were fighting with equipment that seemed to come from fantasy stories. Worse, they appeared to have unlimited supplies of this impossible technology and more soldiers joining their ranks every day. Danny Walsh had been an auto mechanic in Detroit before activation, and now he maintained Guardian weapons that could reshape matter at the molecular level. Danny discovered that the technology was not just advanced, but was based on completely different scientific principles than anything humans had developed. The weapons manipulated fundamental forces in ways that coalition science said were impossible. The secret army was winning battles that should have been unwinnable, and the aliens were starting to realize that Earth would not be another easy conquest. The aliens finally managed to capture one of the secret army soldiers during a raid on an alien communication center. Danny Walsh had been trying to plant a quantum virus in the main computer when coalition reinforcements arrived faster than expected. His Guardian armor was damaged by concentrated fire from 20 alien weapons before he could escape or activate the self-destruct system. Danny woke up in a coalition interrogation facility with his armor removed and energy restraints, holding him to a metal chair. The aliens had never seen Guardian technology up close before, and they were very excited to finally have a sample to study. Danny looked at his captors and smiled because he knew something they did not know about the armor they had captured. Commander Zekthara entered the interrogation room with his best scientists and intelligence officers. The alien commander was desperate for answers about human technology that seemed to violate the laws of physics. His invasion was failing, and the Hegemony Council was demanding explanations for the unprecedented resistance. The aliens tried their most advanced interrogation methods on Danny, but nothing worked. Coalition mind-reading technology could not penetrate human thoughts when the subject had been connected to Guardian systems. The neural pathways created by the armor made human minds resistant to alien mental probes. Danny just sat quietly and waited for what he knew was coming. The alien scientists took Danny's armor to their main laboratory and began scanning it with every instrument they had. The initial results confused them because the armor appeared to be made of materials that should not be able to exist. The molecular structure was stable, but the atoms were arranged in patterns that their science said were impossible. Dr. Helen Price sat in her hidden laboratory on Earth and watched the interrogation through quantum sensors built into Danny's armor. The aliens did not know that Guardian technology could transmit information even when powered down. Helen could see everything that happened to Danny, and all the tests the aliens performed on his equipment. The alien scientists tried to cut samples from the armor, but their tools could not damage it. They fired their most powerful energy weapons at it, but the armor absorbed the energy and seemed to grow stronger. They tried to scan its internal structure, but their instruments showed different results every time. They looked at the same area. What the aliens discovered was that Guardian technology operated on principles their science had never encountered. The armor existed partially in normal space and partially in higher dimensions that coalition instruments could not detect. The weapons channeled energy from parallel universes where different physical laws applied. The communication systems used quantum entanglement across multiple realities. Commander Zekthara realized that his forces were not fighting primitive humans with advanced weapons. They were fighting humans equipped with technology from a civilization far more advanced than the coalition. This changed everything about the invasion and made him understand why his usual tactics were failing. The alien commander sent an emergency message to the Hegemony Council requesting immediate reinforcements and warning them that Earth was defended by technology superior to anything they had encountered before. The Council initially dismissed his report as an excuse for his failures, but when they analyzed the captured armor data, they became very worried. For the first time in coalition history, they had found a civilization with better technology than their own. The Guardian science was thousands of years more advanced than coalition science. Worse, the humans seemed to have unlimited access to this technology and the knowledge to use it effectively in combat. Betty Adams led a rescue mission to free Danny from the alien facility where he was being held. Her team used Guardian phase technology to walk through the walls of the heavily defended prison. They moved like ghosts through corridors filled with guards and security systems that could not detect them. The rescue team found Danny in his cell and used Guardian cutting tools to slice through the energy restraints that held him. Danny was weak from the interrogation, but he was still alive and able to walk with help. Betty's team prepared to phase back through the walls and escape with their rescued comrade. But Danny had a different plan. He told Betty that his armor was still in the alien laboratory and that he wanted to retrieve it before they left. Betty argued that the mission was too dangerous, but Danny insisted that leaving Guardian technology in alien hands was unacceptable even if the armor was damaged. The team made their way to the laboratory, where alien scientists were still trying to understand Danny's armor. The aliens had brought in their best experts from across the galaxy, but none of them could explain how the technology worked. Every test revealed new mysteries and impossible properties. Danny walked up to his armor and placed his hand on it. The armor immediately responded to his genetic signature and neural patterns. It flowed like liquid metal onto his body and reconnected to his nervous system. The aliens watched in shock as the armor that they could not damage or understand simply ignored their restraints and returned to its owner. The reconnection triggered automatic systems in the armor that Danny had not known existed. Guardian technology was designed to learn from every experience and adapt to new threats. The armor had been analyzing Coalition science while the aliens studied it, and now it understood how to counter their weapons and detection systems. Danny's armor had become even more advanced than before his capture. It now had specific defenses against every type of weapon the aliens had used on it. The stealth systems had been upgraded to be completely invisible to all Coalition sensors. The weapons could now penetrate any type of alien shield or armor. The rescue team escaped from the facility with the aliens unable to track or pursue them. The Guardian phase technology allowed them to simply walk through any barrier the aliens tried to put in their way. They returned to Earth with knowledge about alien capabilities and weaknesses that would be very useful in future battles. Commander Sekthara realized that capturing human technology had actually made the humans stronger instead of giving the Coalition an advantage. The Guardian systems had learned from the experience and adapted to become more effective against alien weapons. This was unlike any technology the Coalition had ever encountered. The aliens began to understand that they were not just fighting humans with advanced weapons. They were fighting technology that could think and learn and improve itself. Every battle made the Guardian system smarter and more dangerous. Every captured piece of equipment taught the technology how to be more effective against Coalition forces. Amy Chun flew her Guardian spacecraft on patrol missions around Earth and noticed that alien ship movements had changed. The Coalition forces were pulling back from forward positions and concentrating their fleets in defensive formations. They were acting like they were afraid of the human resistance instead of preparing for final victory. The aliens had realized that Earth was not going to be an easy conquest, but they did not yet understand that they had already lost the war. The secret army was getting stronger every day, and the Guardian technology was learning how to defeat Coalition science. The invasion that was supposed to take 1 month was turning into a disaster that might destroy the entire alien fleet. 6 months after the alien invasion began, everything changed during a single battle in Earth's orbital space. A Coalition battle group of 12 heavy cruisers was moving to secure control over the planet's satellites when they encountered what their sensors reported as one small human spacecraft. The alien commanders laughed at the idea that a single primitive human ship would challenge an entire battle group. Amy Chun sat in the pilot seat of her Guardian spacecraft and felt the ship's artificial intelligence merge with her consciousness. The ship was not just a machine she controlled, but an extension of her own mind and body. Through quantum neural links, Amy could think at the speed of computers and react faster than any biological creature could move. The Guardian ship looked small compared to the massive alien cruisers, but appearances were deceiving. The ship existed partially in normal space and partially in folded dimensions that gave it access to nearly unlimited energy. Its weapons could manipulate gravity, space, and time itself. Its defenses made it nearly impossible to damage with CONVNDONAL weapons. The Coalition admiral commanding the battle group ordered his ships to destroy the human vessel with overwhelming firepower. 12 cruisers opened fire simultaneously with energy weapons that could vaporize mountains. The space around Amy's ship filled with deadly energy beams that should have destroyed any target instantly. But Amy's ship simply was not there when the alien weapons reached its position. The Guardian space folding technology allowed the ship to step sideways out of normal reality and reappear somewhere else without traveling through the space between. To the aliens, it looked like the human ship had teleported, but the reality was even stranger. Amy fired back with weapons that the aliens had never seen before. Gravity cannons that made enemy ships implode under their own weight. Reality disruptors? That caused sections of alien vessels to simply stop existing. Temporal mines that created time loops around targets and trapped them in endless moments of destruction. The battle lasted only 12 minutes, but when it ended, all 12 Coalition cruisers had been destroyed and Amy's ship had not taken any damage. The alien crews never understood what killed them because the Guardian weapons operated according to physics that Coalition science could not explain. They died fighting an enemy that seemed to possess magic. News of the battle spread through the Coalition fleet and caused panic among alien commanders who had never experienced total defeat before. The humans had destroyed an entire battle group, with a single ship using weapons that violated everything the aliens thought they knew about space combat. Morale collapsed as crews began to fear that they were fighting an impossible enemy. Commander Zikthara received reports about the orbital battle and realized that his invasion had failed completely. The humans were not just resisting the Coalition occupation, but were actively winning the war. Their technology was so far beyond Coalition science that continued fighting was pointless. He began preparing evacuation plans for his remaining forces. On Earth's surface, the secret army began coordinating global operations for the first time since the invasion started. Jake Morrison sat in his underground command center and watched holographic displays showing the positions of every activated human around the world. There were more of them than even he had expected. The genetic screening program had identified over 70 million humans with the markers needed to use Guardian technology. Half of them had been activated and trained during the decades of preparation. The secret army was not just a few thousand elite soldiers, but was actually a force of 5 million people with access to the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Carl Brown commanded Guardian forces that liberated entire cities, using defensive shields that could protect millions of civilians at once. The shields used space-folding technology to create barriers that alien weapons could not penetrate. Coalition forces found themselves unable to harm human population centers. No matter how powerful their weapons were, the aliens tried to retaliate by threatening to destroy cities with orbital bombardment, but they discovered that their ships could not target anything on Earth's surface. Guardian jamming technology created interference that made Coalition targeting systems completely useless. The aliens could see the planet, but they could not lock weapons onto specific locations. Nathan cross-led operations that demonstrated how much the secret army had learned about Coalition technology during 6 months of fighting. His teams could now predict alien tactics and counter them before the aliens even implemented their plans. The Guardian artificial intelligence systems had analyzed every Coalition strategy and developed perfect responses. The secret army members found that their abilities were growing stronger under the stress of actual combat. The genetic markers that allowed them to use Guardian technology also caused evolutionary changes in their brains and bodies. They were becoming something more than human, but they were still recognizably the same people they had been before activation. Dr. Helen Price studied the changes happening to the activated humans and realized that this had been planned by the Guardians who originally gave Earth the technology. The equipment was designed to enhance human evolution and create a new type of being that could use Guardian science to its full potential. The secret army was becoming the next generation of Guardians. Margaret Bell coordinated resistance operations across the entire eastern United States and discovered that the Guardian technology allowed activated humans to share thoughts and knowledge directly. When she concentrated, she could access the memories and experiences of any other secret army member. The technology was creating a collective consciousness that spanned the globe. Bobby Kim worked with Guardian manufacturing systems that could create new equipment instantly from raw materials. The technology used molecular assemblers that rearranged atoms to build weapons, armor, and spacecraft according to programmed designs. The Secret Army had unlimited supplies because they could manufacture anything they needed. Susan Clark managed communication networks that connected every activated human on Earth through quantum entanglement channels. The networks allowed instant coordination of operations across any distance and could not be intercepted or jammed by alien technology. The Secret Army fought as one unified force with perfect coordination. Betty Adams led the assault on the Coalition's main command center on Earth and discovered that the aliens were already preparing to evacuate. The invasion force that had conquered 47 worlds was retreating from Earth after only 6 months of fighting. The Secret Army had achieved something that no other species had ever accomplished. The Guardian technology was revealing new capabilities as the humans who used it became more experienced. Weapons that could reach across dimensions to strike targets in parallel universes. Armor that made wearers immune to all forms of physical damage. Ships that could travel instantly to any point in the galaxy without crossing the space. Between, Commander Zekthara sent a final report to the Hegemony Council explaining that Earth could not be conquered by conventional military force. The humans had technology that was beyond Coalition understanding, and they were becoming more powerful every day. He recommended that the Coalition avoid human space entirely and never attempt another invasion. The Secret Army that no one had seen coming had not only saved Earth, but had become something that could threaten the entire Coalition empire. The ordinary humans who had lived quiet lives as teachers and mechanics and store clerks were now the most dangerous military force in the galaxy, and they were just beginning to understand their true potential. The final phase of Earth's war began when Jake Morrison activated the Guardian Network's ultimate protocol. Every member of the Secret Army around the world felt their consciousness expand as their minds connected through quantum neural links that spanned the entire planet. For the first time since the invasion started, 35 million enhanced humans became a single unified intelligence. Jake sat in his command bunker, but he was no longer just one person. Through the Guardian Network, he could see through the eyes of every activated human on Earth. He felt what they felt and knew what they knew. The collective consciousness could process information at speeds that no individual mind could achieve and could coordinate actions with perfect precision. Margaret Bell stood in her classroom in Ohio, but her awareness extended across continents. She could simultaneously direct operations in Asia through Bobby Kim, coordinate supply lines in Europe through Susan Clark, and plan tactical strikes in South America through dozens of other connected minds. The Secret Army had become something that had never existed before in the galaxy. Commander Zekthara watched his tactical displays in growing horror as human resistance operations became impossibly coordinated. Every move his forces made was countered instantly by precisely the right response. The humans seemed to know what his commanders were going to do before they did it themselves. It was like fighting an enemy that could read minds and predict the future. The aliens realized they were no longer fighting individual human soldiers, but were facing a collective intelligence that combined the creativity and adaptability of millions of human minds with technology that operated beyond their understanding. Every human on the battlefield shared the knowledge and experience of every other human. They fought with perfect coordination and made no tactical mistakes. Grace Murphy had been a veterinarian in a small town before activation, but now she piloted a Guardian spacecraft that phased in and out of normal space during combat. Her enhanced consciousness allowed her to navigate through folded dimensions that Coalition sensors could not detect. She could attack enemy ships from angles that did not exist in normal geometry. The Guardian ships moved through space in ways that violated everything the aliens understood about physics. They could appear inside enemy vessels and fire their weapons from within. They could exist in multiple locations simultaneously and attack the same target from different dimensions. Coalition pilots found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to possess supernatural powers. Amy Chun coordinated the space battle from her flagship, while simultaneously managing ground operations through her connection to the collective consciousness. She could think at the speed of computers and control hundreds of different operations at the same time. Her ship became the focal point for a fleet of Guardian vessels that moved and fought as extensions of her will. The climactic battle took place simultaneously in space and on every continent of Earth. The secret army activated Guardian installations that had been hidden around the planet for decades. These installations tapped into Earth's electromagnetic field and created a defensive barrier that surrounded the entire world like an invisible shell. Carl Brown operated one of the hidden installations from beneath a farm in Iowa. The installation looked like a simple metal building on the surface, but underground it contained Guardian technology that could manipulate planetary magnetic fields. When connected to similar installations worldwide, it became part of a defensive system that protected the entire Earth. The planetary shield used space-folding technology to create barriers that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Coalition weapons could not penetrate defenses that were only partially in normal space. The aliens found that their most powerful orbital bombardment weapons simply passed through empty space. Where the planet should have been, Betty Adams led ground forces that used the Guardian network to coordinate attacks on every remaining alien base on Earth at exactly the same moment. The aliens had no time to warn each other or coordinate their defenses because every base was attacked simultaneously by forces that seemed to appear from nowhere. The secret army moved through alien installations like ghosts that could walk through walls and become solid only when they wanted to attack. Coalition soldiers found themselves fighting enemies that could phase through their weapons and armor while remaining able to kill them. With energy beams that ignored all defenses, Commander Zekthara made one final desperate attempt to break through Earth's defenses by concentrating his entire remaining fleet for a massive assault on the planet's surface. Every ship in the Coalition force fired their weapons simultaneously in an attack that should have been powerful enough to crack a planet's crust, but the weapons never reached Earth because the Guardian planetary shield created a barrier that existed outside normal space and time. The energy beams fired by alien ships simply vanished into folded dimensions, where they could not affect anything in normal reality. The most powerful attack in Coalition history had absolutely no effect on its target. The truth that changed everything was revealed in the final moments of the battle, when Dr. Helen Price accessed Guardian historical records through the network. The dying alien who had given Earth Guardian technology 68 years earlier had not been a random refugee. He had been the last Guardian, the sole survivor of his species' successful resistance against the Coalition. The Guardians had not been destroyed by the Coalition, but had evolved beyond physical existence into beings of pure consciousness that could exist in higher dimensions. They had given their technology to humanity because humans had the genetic potential to become the next generation of Guardians. The secret army was not just Earth's defense force, but was the continuation of an ancient war against tyranny. Earth's electromagnetic field, modified by decades of hidden Guardian installations, created a trap that prevented Coalition ships from leaving orbit. The alien fleet found itself caught in an energy web that made faster than light travel impossible. They were prisoners in the space around a planet they could not conquer or escape. Peter White had been a store clerk before activation, but now he used Guardian technology to travel instantly to distant star systems where other species were fighting hopeless wars against Coalition invasion forces. The network allowed him to appear anywhere in the galaxy and bring Guardian weapons to species that had never seen technology advanced enough to resist the aliens. Carolyn Davis worked as a nurse before becoming part of the secret army, but now she led liberation missions to worlds that had been conquered by the Coalition decades earlier. The Guardian technology allowed small teams of humans to free entire planets by teaching enslaved species how to fight back with weapons their oppressors could not understand or counter. The war that had started as an alien invasion of Earth became a galactic revolution as humanity spread Guardian technology to every species that wanted freedom from Coalition rule. The secret army that no one had seen coming became the force that would ultimately destroy the alien empire and liberate thousands of worlds. Commander Zekthara sent his final transmission to the Hegemony Council before his ship was disabled. by guardian weapons that existed in dimensions he could not perceive. He warned them that humanity was not just another species to be conquered, but was something new in the galaxy that possessed power beyond anything the Coalition had ever encountered. The ordinary humans who had lived quiet lives as teachers and mechanics and store clerks had become the new guardians of the galaxy. They carried the responsibility of protecting other species from tyranny and oppression. The secret army that saved Earth became the force that would bring freedom to the stars and ensure that no species would ever again face the hopeless choice between slavery and extinction.